stuck with it. Junior high, you know, got into jazz band, and so I started playing drum set in school, which was awesome. But still, third chair, second chair. Then went to high school, same thing. Johnny Rabb was a drummer at my high school.
Oh, wow.
And he was a senior when I was a freshman, and so I was like fifth chair. I just kept going backwards, man. No matter how much I practiced, so apparently I got worse. So yeah, and then just did that for a long time, and then I think the real turning point for me from becoming a person that owned drums into a drummer was getting in my first rock band, which was in junior year of high school. I got in a band called Simon Says. So.
Okay, I remember you posting that. Well,
yeah, man.
All right. So real quick, just to clarify, I believe your mom is on Facebook.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
She adds everybody.
Yes, she does.
Sweetest lady, and she posted a video a while back as a music video, and there was always debate if that was you or it wasn't.
Oh yeah,
So it is you.
Guaranteed, yeah.
Okay, cool.
If I got frosted tips, then hell yeah, it's me. Bleached hair, but yeah, I mean that was my first band ever, and I went to my first high school party where I could drive, and we went to the party and there was a band playing, and they were called Second Reverb. And they took a break, and I saw the drums sitting by themselves, so I asked the drummer, I'm like, hey man, can I play on your kit? It's the worst question ever. When people ask me that question, I want to throw up in my mouth, like, no, please, finally, silence. No, no one plays my kit.
Exactly.
Not my kit, like, let's just not have drums, you know, I don't care about people playing my kit. But I didn't know any better, and I was like, can I play your kit? And I just sat down and ripped a solo. The dumbest thing ever. Braces, acne.
You were like, come on, man, let's play 4/4. And we started playing, and you just smoked me. I was like, I'm going to get him with this little thing. And sure enough, you were like, oh, that's great. Let me just do it twice as fast with one hand.
Yeah, I think sometimes, you know, you have to, as an instructor, you have to assess the situation. And if somebody has a healthy ego, not a non-healthy ego, but a healthy ego, then it is okay to, you know, in a first lesson, sometimes when the student can actually play like you could, then you have to establish some dominance so there becomes a clear line of teacher and student. You know, if it's a kid that's never played before, I'm not like, check this out, Billy, and I just drop the hammer on him. You know, it's more about building the kid's confidence. But when it's somebody that can already play, it's like, okay, look, let's establish some lines here because I need you to respect the process. I need you to be impressed. I have to show off so that you can be like, yes, that, right there, what you just did, I want to do that. And it's like, okay, well, clearly I can currently do it. I must have learned how to do it somehow. And as long as my ego is healthy enough, I should be able to give that process to you. Right. If I can't give that process to you, then that's either lack of education on my part or that's an ego problem. That's me saying, if I gave this to you, then you'd be as good as me. And that scares me. And I've just, as an educator, I've never lived like that. It's always been like, let me give this to you, but I will be extremely upset if you don't surpass me with this. I'm giving it to you. It's already done. I already did all the work. Now you have to build on it, and then I'll actually get to learn it back from you, which would be great. It's a reciprocal process. And so, yeah, man, I remember, you know, our first hang was like, you know, one, I was, you know, just blown away by your artistic prowess, you know, because people had sent me pictures of myself before, and I was like, that's cute. Like, I appreciate it, but it's kind of, sometimes if it's really poorly done, it's just creepy. It's like, yeah, that's scary.
You know, I think in all way, and I'm sorry if I'm going to interrupt.
No.
It's one of those things where I have art students now compared to music students,
right.
And their heart and soul, and I think you as an instructor can agree with this as well, that you see people who push and push and push, and they're just not. They're not there,
right.
But I think that's what defines a great instructor, as such as yourself, in my opinion, where you find everything that's wrong with it, and you encourage them to build it rather than say they're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's the weirdest thing that I've ever seen with educators is sometimes they literally just point out what's wrong and walk away. And you're like, did you think I didn't know that I sucked at timing? Like, I was well aware of this, and I expected you to point it out, but I also came to you because I expected you to fix it.
Right.
And when they don't fix it, it makes no sense. And so that's the key, is like, I will never ever say anything negative to anybody about anything if I don't already have a plan in place to fix what is wrong. And the other thing is, whatever you are struggling with, or whatever even your art students are struggling with, aren't they just struggling with something you used to struggle with?
Exactly.
So it's like, well, you're just a snapshot of my past, and I struggled with that. So how did I get through it? Okay, I did this. Let me teach you those steps.
Right.
Rather than just proving to you that I'm very good at what you struggle at, and then just being like, deal with it, punk. You know, that doesn't help anybody.
It doesn't.
So eventually, the scene, you know, became FAR, Deftones, my band Simon Says, and a young band called Papa Roach. And so, and we would literally,
Who?
right? No, I mean seriously,
Yeah.
trust me. They were the ones in the parking lot passing out their cassette tapes. We were like, dude, look at those kids. What are they doing? And it paid off. But yeah, I mean, literally, there were times where it'd be Papa Roach opening, then Simon Says, then FAR, then the Deftones, and we'd play coffee shops, you know, to like 40 people. So it was a very cool scene in Sacramento, and I was surrounded by these amazing drummers. And the drummer from FAR, his name's Chris Robine. He's, when it comes to rock, he was. I've never idolized somebody at that level where I just idolized everything he did, every note, every posture. You know, I'd get a mirror and I'd try to look more like him because I thought that he looked good on a drum set, held himself well. So he called me one day and he's like, hey, we have a job opening at this place called Drum and Guitar City. And this is before the big chains had taken over. And Drum Guitar City was the big Guitar Center size store, but family owned. It was the dream, you know.
I think I have them on Facebook. They're also in Midwest, aren't they?
Well, I think that version is gone. There's probably a new version now, but this was a Sacramento store, and it was the dream store. So he got me a job there, and this is back in the day when stores only had 2 or 3 drum guys, and that was it. It was the most coveted job in town because those drum guys would stay there for 30 years, you know.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God, I got a job at Drum Guitar City, and I was 17. I was a senior in high school. And that's when I stopped thinking about drum lessons from the aspect of, like, just, I'm going to go to a music store and take drum lessons. Then I started thinking, I need to study with somebody. I need to study with somebody, you know, legit, so.
Right. So when you started going there, I remember you had mentioned that you started and you were taking lessons, and then at the time, you kind of were in that transition where you said there was that one drum instructor that kind of went off and you kind of came in.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So what had happened was I was just working there, and I had taken lessons my whole life. And as far as the education thing, I didn't know that my whole childhood was me reinventing the way to teach drums. And what it was that I was learning something from a drum instructor, and I wouldn't understand it. So I'd go home and have to reinvent the explanation because the way that my instructor would explain it, it made sense to all of his other students, but not to me. I felt like I was drumming. I had dyslexia in drumming. I just couldn't get it. So I'd put the pages on the ground, and I'd have to kind of, you know, reorganize everything to make this work. So I did that, and then, yeah, when I was just about 18 years old, the drum instructor at this place, Drum Guitar City, got fired, and I got hired like that day. The owner was like, oh, can you be the teacher? I was like, sure, man. And I inherited 65 students in one day as an 18-year-old kid.
Right.
So that's when things got really serious because I realized now I'm in charge of people's education. There was never a big deal about it before, but now all of a sudden, wow, like this kid is going to go audition for honor band based off of what I just taught him.
Right.
Like, this is serious. So that's when I started searching out new educators. I started taking lessons from the guys that played in our, you know, local symphonies. I'd take lessons from our major jazz guys, and then eventually had to start driving out of town to the Bay Area to study with the guy that became my main teacher. His name is Pete Magadini.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I had like a Yoda in charge of me.
Right.
That just wasn't my friend. I mean, he eventually was, but we didn't know each other. And all he cared about was me getting better. You had to audition to take lessons with him. You know, he only had this select group of students. So yeah, so that's how that all started. So.
And I remember you explaining.